The tragic death of Ken Norton sent shockwaves through the boxing world in 2013. The former heavyweight champion died at age 70 in a Las Vegas care facility from congestive heart failure. He had been battling strokes and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, the brain disease that haunts so many fighters. His friends said he had been fighting the battle for 2 years before his death. It was a tragic end for a man who had spent his entire life refusing to surrender. But long before his body gave out, Ken Norton shook the world of boxing with one of the most stunning upsets in heavyweight history. March 31st, 1973. Ken Norton walked into the ring as a massive 7-1 underdog against Muhammad Ali. Nobody gave him a chance. Ali was the superstar, the showman, the greatest fighter alive. Norton was just another opponent on Ali's comeback trail, or so everyone thought. Norton had spent months preparing with trainer Eddie Futch, working on a strategy that would expose Ali's weaknesses. But Norton had other plans that nobody could predict. He used his strange cross-arm guard to confuse Ali. He bobbed and weaved from a crouch. He threw punches from below that Ali couldn't see coming. His low left arm crossed his torso, while his right hand stayed up by his ear. This bizarre style made him nearly impossible to hit cleanly. Then it happened. Norton broke Muhammad Ali's jaw. The exact moment remains debated to this day. Ali's trainer Angelo Dundee claimed it happened in the first round. Norton's trainer Eddie Futch insisted it was the 11th. The injury was devastating either way. Dr. Gary Manchester described it as a very bad break with 3 or 4 jagged edges that kept poking into Ali's cheek and mouth. Despite the broken jaw, Ali fought on for 12 rounds with incredible heart. But Norton won a split decision that nobody saw coming. Ali later admitted his mistake, saying he didn't train properly because he really didn't think Norton was that great a fighter. He was wrong about that assessment. The boxing world was stunned. How did this unknown fighter beat the great Muhammad Ali? Norton visited Ali in the hospital after the fight. This gesture began what Norton believed was a real friendship between the two men. Ali showed class in defeat, shaking Norton's hand in the ring. 6 months later, they fought again. This time, Ali was ready. He won a narrow split decision in their rematch. But now everyone knew Norton was special. His weird style gave Ali fits. The cross-arm defense made him hard to hit. His low punches were hard to see. When Norton advanced, he was dangerous. The third fight in 1976 at Yankee Stadium became one of boxing's biggest robberies. The fight was broadcast around the world, with millions watching. Norton clearly won the fight by most accounts. Even Ali knew it deep down. He later admitted the uncomfortable truth. Kenny's style is too difficult for me. I can't beat him, and I sure don't want to fight him again. I honestly thought he beat me in Yankee Stadium, but the judges gave it to me, and I'm grateful to them. Norton was understandably bitter after the decision. I won at least 9 or 10 rounds. I was robbed, he said with obvious frustration. The public agreed with Norton. New York newspapers slammed the decision. One paper wrote that if Ali won that fight, then the Japanese won World War II. Sports writers were split worldwide. But in America, most people saw Norton winning. The judges seemed caught up in Ali mania. They saw what they wanted to see instead of what really happened. Norton's corner made a mistake in the final round. They told him to play it safe. Ali's corner screamed at him to go for broke. Ali dominated those last 3 minutes and maybe stole the fight, but most people still thought Norton deserved the win. After the Ali trilogy, Norton was the #1 contender. He beat Jimmy Young in 1977 to earn a title shot. Everyone expected him to fight Ali next, but Leon Spinks shocked the world by beating Ali in February 1978. Now Spinks was champion, and Norton was still the top contender. The World Boxing Council ordered Spinks to fight Norton. Spinks refused. Don King offered him $2 million to fight Norton. Spinks still said no. He wanted the easier rematch with Ali instead. The WBC got angry. They stripped Spinks of his title on March 29, 1978. Then something strange happened. The WBC decided to make Norton's win over Jimmy Young retroactive. They called it a title fight after the fact. On March 18, 1978, Ken Norton became heavyweight champion without beating the champion. This was not how Norton wanted to win the title. He wanted to earn it in the ring against the real champion. Norton finally got his big title defense against Larry Holmes later in 1978. The fight was close, but Holmes won a split decision. Norton lost his WBC title in his first defense. The politics of boxing had given him a championship, then taken it away just as quickly. But Norton's problems with boxing politics were nothing compared to what happened in Venezuela. In 1974, he fought George Foreman for the undisputed heavyweight title in Caracas. The bout was a massive international event, broadcast to over 70 countries worldwide. Foreman was guaranteed $700,000, while Norton would earn $200,000. The Venezuelan government promised no taxes on the fighters' purses. This was part of the deal to bring the fight there. Without this agreement, the fight would never have happened in Caracas. Norton got knocked out by Foreman in the second round. It was a devastating punch that ended his title dreams instantly, but the real fight started after the bell rang. The Venezuelan government changed its mind about the taxes. The night before the fight, they had issued a memo saying some taxes would be assessed. An arena manager assured everyone the problem was solved and that the arena would post a tax bond. These assurances proved completely false. They wanted their money after all. Norton and Foreman tried to leave the country, but officials stopped them at the airport. It was an international incident waiting to happen. The government demanded Norton pay $47,000 in taxes plus a $60,000 bond. They would not let him leave until he paid. The situation got so bad that the U.S. ambassador had to get involved. Norton finally paid the money and left on March 29th. Foreman had to pay even more because his purse was bigger. This became known as the Caracas Caper. It showed how vulnerable fighters were to foreign governments. Even elite boxers could be held hostage over money disputes. Norton learned that boxing success did not protect him from political games. The worst was yet to come for Norton's body and mind. In 1986, Norton suffered a near-fatal car accident that changed everything. The crash was so severe that doctors thought he might not survive. He broke his jaw again, the same jaw Ali had broken 13 years earlier. He broke his leg in multiple places. His skull was fractured badly. Worst of all, he suffered a serious brain injury that threatened his entire future. Doctors said he would never walk or talk again. The medical team had little hope for his recovery. Norton showed them wrong through sheer determination. He fought back from his injuries like he fought in the ring. He learned to speak again, though his speech remained slow and slurred. He never regained his full mobility. The accident left surgical scars on his head that he carried for life. But Norton refused to give up. The car accident was just the beginning of his health battles. In his later years, Norton suffered multiple strokes. The punishment from years of boxing had taken its toll. He developed chronic traumatic encephalopathy, the brain disease that destroys fighters' minds. CTE was once called punch-drunk syndrome. It comes from repeated head trauma over years of fighting. The disease causes memory loss, depression, and personality changes. It can only be diagnosed after death through brain autopsy. Norton battled this invisible enemy for years. By 2012, Norton's condition had worsened dramatically. A stroke left him unable to speak. He could only communicate by blinking his eyes. The man who once broke Muhammad Ali's jaw was trapped in his own failing body. He spent his final years in a care facility, fighting a battle he could not win. On September 18, 2013, Ken Norton died from congestive heart failure. He was 70 years old. His family started a foundation to protect future athletes from the same fate. They wanted Norton's suffering to mean something for the next generation of fighters. Norton's story reveals the true cost of boxing greatness. The sport that made him famous also destroyed his mind and body. The politics that gave him a title also robbed him of victories he earned. But through it all, Norton never stopped fighting. He took Muhammad Ali to the limit 3 times. He proved that an underdog could shock the world. He survived financial disasters and health crises that would have broken weaker men. Norton showed that sometimes the greatest victories happen outside the ring. Despite all the injustice and pain, Norton always fought back. When doctors said he would never walk, he walked. When they said he would never talk, he talked. When boxing politics tried to deny him, he kept pushing forward. His courage inspired everyone who knew his story. Ken Norton is remembered not just for breaking Ali's jaw, but for never breaking himself. He faced every challenge with the same cross-arm guard that frustrated Ali. He absorbed punishment and kept coming forward. That was Norton's way in the ring and in life. The man who started as a 7-1 underdog became a heavyweight champion. He proved that heart matters more than odds. He showed that resilience can overcome any obstacle. Ken Norton's legacy lives on in every fighter who refuses to quit when the world counts them out.